Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hello and welcome once again to Coast Entertainment Network Movie Hour. And I am your host, Dragonviper, alongside with my co-host, Crispy Bacon. How are you doing today, Mr. Bacon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just got off work, so I'm kind of tired, but still amped up to do this show. So we'll go ahead and get started on this. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to be we normally talk about movies, and then we'll talk about TV shows, and that's why it's called Entertainment Hour. So,
right.
But anyway, so we're going to go and we're going to talk about Ben Stiller. Now, Ben Stiller's been in some high quality good movies, and he has movies where I don't really, in my opinion, there's some that I didn't really care for, but there were some that, I did find, him do well in. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, Ben Stiller. And just want to say, hey, Lou, how's it going? Hope you enjoy the show today. All right, Crispy Bacon. What are your top 3 good Ben Stiller movies?
My top 3 Ben Stiller movies would have to be Night at the Museum, Dodgeball, and probably Anchorman.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And Lou sent a comment saying you told me to remind you about Golden Girls. Yeah, but I kind of can't do it today. You'll have to remind me sooner. But thank you though. And then Jason Barber says, "Did you know Stiller had 7 movies released in the same year?" I knew of 4. I knew of 4 of his movies were released because he was with I just read it and I spaced it, but there was another actor he was with in 4 in 1 year. So I knew there was 4. I didn't know he had 7 released in the same year. So that's good to know. And then my top 3 good movies of Ben Stiller would be Meet the Parents. I really did enjoy the movie Something About Mary. That was a good one. And then, talk about Ben Stiller and good movies. I guarantee probably a majority of the people would have to say, at least in their top 5, Dodgeball would be, one of those movies. So my number 3 movie was Dodgeball. That's a classic. I mean, Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller's in there. I mean, they even have Chuck Norris at the end of the movie. So, I mean, can't really pronounce or say the quote that he says at the end of the movie, but it was good all the way around. And then you have Jason Barber saying bomb, 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 bomb. Yeah, that's from Meet the Parents, and which is in my top 3 good ones. I really enjoyed that. It's just like other trilogies that we've talked about, in past weeks and stuff. That the first one's better than second. Sometimes the second's better than the others, but I have to admit, Meet the Parents was actually better than the other 2. Right. I mean, do you agree with that? Or
I agree with that. I feel like the first one, of a movie or a series is always the better one.
Yeah. And I feel that they put more attention towards Ben Stiller and I can't remember her name, but his girlfriend on the movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, they put more attention on them. And then, of course, the second and third one didn't really have much attention on them, which I understand, but I enjoyed the first one, and then we have Jason Barber doing another quote, freaking Chuck Norris. I won that tournament. Yeah. There you go. That's the way to do it. That's the way to
Yeah.
do it. So, yeah, we'll go with that.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yep. Yeah, some pretty good,
Quote.
quotes and scenes in that movie. So I really enjoyed it. And then top three bad. I'm gonna go along with I'm sorry, Chris. I have to
It's
do
okay.
this, but the number one bad movie that I didn't care about him in was Night at the Museum. I didn't really care for him in that movie. That I don't know. It may have been the movie itself, but I didn't. Wow. Okay. Jason commented and said, "Nobody makes me bleed my own blood." Yeah. So, like I said, some good quotes and scenes from Dodgeball, but yeah, Night at the Museum. Like I said, I don't know if it was a movie or if it was just him in it, but I didn't really care for it. So, number two, Zoolander. I don't know. I didn't really think that was a good character for him. I don't know. Kind of geekish, I guess.
Yeah.
It was just not him. And then, of course, number three, Envy. I like Jack Black, but I don't think Jack Black and Ben Stiller did really well together in that movie. I don't think they click together as co-stars in that movie, and so those are my top three. How about you, Chris?
I never liked Zoolander. I mean, it was kind of funny, but I thought it was kind of, I don't know, kind
It
of
was
off.
meh.
Yeah. My second one would probably be maybe the second Anchorman. I like the first one, but the second one I could do without. And I'm trying to think of a third one. Maybe the second Zoolander.
I haven't seen the second one.
I have either, but I'm sure it's similar than the first. So
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't think I'd want to waste my time on the second one. And there's movies out there where it's like, well, I don't really want to watch it because it's a waste of my time. But then there's those some movies that I say that and I watch it and I'm like, okay, yep, I was right. It was a waste of my time. Now I could, but I could still sit there and say that I actually watched them. And if anybody asks,
yeah,
then I can tell them that it was a waste of time, and it'd be a waste of their time if they wanted to watch it. Jason Barber says, "What about heavyweights?" I was a little kid when I watched that movie, and that was the last time I watched it. I remember it being, a good movie, but that's about as far as I remember. I don't remember who was in it. I don't remember. So I couldn't even remember, Ben Stiller being in that movie. I mean,
he also puts this out for Night at the Museum.
oh, but yeah, I don't remember. Like I said, I remember it was a good movie. I enjoyed it as a kid, but I just don't remember anybody in it. I'll have to rewatch it, one day and remember at that point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at probably 20 plus years it's been since I've watched it. So, I mean, have you seen it, Chris?
Which movie?
Heavyweights?
I have not. No.
Okay. Yeah, it was 20 plus years ago, and I've been through a lot, so much, so it's my memory is not as good as it should be, but I'll have to rewatch it. Jason, I'll rewatch it and let you know how that goes. So see if I still. Jason, I think you're older than I am, just barely, but he's sitting here calling me old, but I think he's a little older than I am, so he has no room to talk. Anyway, here's some information about Ben Stiller. I mean, he went and appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in '98.
Oh wow.
He walked away with $32,000 for Project ALS. I mean, he phoned. He had a question where he phoned his mom, who's also an actress. Her name's Ann Mira. For help, but but he got the question wrong for 250,000. So, I mean, at least he walked away with 32,000. He often casts with Janine Garofalo. I mean, he was in Mystery Men, and that's one of the movies that Janine Garofalo was in. So, let's see. And there was something, I mean, I did read something on here about him that was interesting. I mean, he's a member of what the media refers to as the frat pack, which is also along with Will Ferrell, Jack Black, Vince Vaughn, Steve Carell, Owen Wilson, and Luke Wilson. And it's reference to the film, Old School. So he's part of that. And okay, there was, like I said, there was something I saw, and I should have started, but at one point he was considered the role of Willy Wonka in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. When you hear that a certain celebrity is supposed to be on a movie and somebody else takes it, it's kind of hard to see that original person actually taking that role. Johnny Depp took that role instead, but I don't think I could see Ben Stiller as the guy that I don't see him as Charlie or Willy Wonka in Charlie Chocolate Factory.
I don't see it either.
I can't. Jason Barber says, what about Happy Gilmore? I don't understand how I forgot about that. I mean, Happy Gilmore, when he was the orderly for Happy Gilmore's grandma, he was good in that one too. I mean, I don't know how I forgot that, but yes, yeah, he was amazing. He was funny, really funny in that one. And I mean, let's see, yeah, I think that's pretty much it on him, with facts. I mean, he's got a celebrity family. His parents are Ann Mira and Jerry Stiller, and his sister is Amy Stiller, and they're all, actors and actresses in different shows and movies. I mean, the mom and sister I really haven't heard of, but Jerry Stiller I have. So, yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much all I've got for Ben Stiller. Do you have anything else on him? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at we talk about TVs. Remember that cartoon Two Stupid Dogs?
I watched
He was
like
part
one
of that. He
episode
was
of
part
that.
of that.
and I watched one episode of that, and that irritated me. So
But no, there's a lot of things he was in TV wise, but
yeah, no, I mean he even made guest appearances in Friends. So, but anyway, so are you pretty much done
yeah.
with? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and now move on to Cameron Diaz, co-star of Ben Stiller on There's
Most
Something.
movies.
Huh?
For most movies, yeah.
Yeah, well, especially especially There's Something About Mary. But anyway, Cameron Diaz, I thought she was a really good actress. I mean, she was good for the movies I've seen of hers. I mean, I'm not a big Cameron Diaz fan,
Yeah.
but the movies I did see of hers, she was good in. As well, depending on the movie, I guess too. So,
Right.
but all right, I'm gonna start with you. What were your top 3 good Cameron Diaz movies?
My top 3 were Any Given Sunday, The Mask, and the first, I guess, movie in Shrek.
Wow, yeah. We are definitely opposites on that one. No, my top 3 is Something About Mary, What Happens in Vegas, and her voiceover in Shrek 2. Yeah, I especially What Happens in Vegas. The old saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And, I guess when you get, consume enough alcohol where you're not knowing what you're doing and then end up getting married, which I don't know. I mean, do they even really do that where you can be completely wasted drunk and then they allow you to get married to someone? I don't know if they
Right.
actually do that or not, but
Well, back then in real life, it was like that. Now I think you have to wait a few days before you can.
yeah, that'd be that'd be interesting if they still did that, but I have no idea. Yeah. So anyway, now the top 3 bad for Cameron Diaz. Wait, before I get there, we have Jason Barber actually answered that question. Yes, they do. They have chapels on every corner, inside hotels, and everything. So I guess in Vegas you could still be wasted, drunk, and still get married, and they allow that. Wow. Well, all I have to say is a nuptial or whatever they call it, early.
The nuptials.
No, early divorces.
I can't. Yeah.
Anyway, I bet those rates are real high. People wake up the next morning finding out they're married and they got wasted the night before. Oh, they're getting their marriage annulled real quick. So, all right. So on to the top 3 bad. My top 3 is Charlie's Angels, and that's just because the movie Charlie's Angels doesn't match up to the TV show.
Yeah.
So I mean, even the females they don't match up to the TV show. So I'm gonna go with that. Bad Teacher, and this is why I say I'm the opposite of you on your good list because I put The Mask on my number 3 bad, and it's just because. There's certain movies when somebody says a name, there's certain movies where I can list off that they're in. And Cameron Diaz in The Mask, somebody mentioned Cameron Diaz, I'm not going to think of The Mask. In fact, I completely forgot about The Mask because, I didn't feel she was very out there and noticeable on The Mask. So, that's my top 3 bad.
Okay.
How about you, Chris?
I agree with the bad teacher being on there. I also put Annie on there and the other Shreks.
I never saw Annie. I wasn't really into the whole Annie thing growing up. I know that was in the 50s, 60s, something like that.
Right.
I wasn't real big into that kind of that show. And I felt that with Shrek 2, she seemed more comfortable with her part, the voiceover in number 2 than she did in number 1. But that's why my list is different than yours.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and go off of the top 10 for both actor and actress. And then I'll get into some information about Cameron Diaz, which I was telling Chris backstage that one piece of information about Cameron that is quite interesting. So I'll get to that in a minute. But top 10 Ben Stiller movies. Number 10 was Greenberg. Number 9, Madagascar 3. 8, Brad's Status. 7, The Royal Tenenbaums, which I heard was not a good movie. Kind of boring from what I hear. Number 6, Tropic Thunder. Number 5, There's Something About Mary. Number 4, While We're Young. Number 3, Meet the Parents, which I'm surprised they only made it to number 3. Number 2, Flirting with Disaster. And 1, The Meyerowitz Stories, which honestly I have not heard of that one. So, I mean, from the movies that you've seen out of that list, do you agree where they're at? Do they need to be up more, down more?
I think they're good where they're at. What about you?
I think Meet the Parents needs to be up there more. I know it's number 3, but it should be number 2, number 1. And then of course you have There's Something About Mary. I think that needed to be up there a little bit more, but
right.
And then of course everything else can pretty much stay where they're at. And then top 10 Cameron Diaz movies. Number 10, Any Given Sunday. 9, Vanilla Sky. 8, The Holiday. 7, The Mask. 6, There's Something About Mary. 5, Shrek 2. 4, My Sister's Keeper. 3, Gangs of New York. 2, Being John Malkovich. And 1, Shrek. Now, what surprises me about this list is the fact that, you had Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. And normally when there's a top 10 list, they normally have, some, if not all, of the sequels on there, all the, movies.
Yeah.
But so it surprises me that there was only 2 on there. And it was the first 2, which means even the person doing this top 10 list thought that 3 and 4 and whatever, 100, Shrek was terrible. Didn't deserve to be in the top 10. So,
right. Yeah.
all right. Now we're going to go on to a few things about Cameron Diaz, and then we'll move on to television from there. One thing is that in almost every single movie, which I haven't even noticed, but I guess it's there, She is filmed dancing in almost every single movie, which I had
Huh.
no idea. Yeah, didn't know that.
Wow.
And then here's one of the interesting ones that I was actually telling Chris backstage. Cameron Diaz was actually set to play Sonya Blade in the first Mortal Kombat movie, the one made in 1995. But she broke her wrist while taking karate lessons to prepare for that role, and due to her breaking her wrist, that's when she was replaced by Bridget Wilson. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting to find out. And to be honest, I don't see Cameron Diaz doing that spot. It's like I said about same thing about Ben Stiller. It's difficult to see somebody else playing a part that's already been played.
Yeah.
And the person, if they did a really good job in that movie, which Bridget Wilson did, it's hard to see the original play that same role. So, but I thought that one was quite interesting.
Yeah.
She got alcohol poisoning in Australia at the age of 18, which that I didn't know about either. Let's see. She, her dad, his name's Emilio Diaz. He happened to appear in There's Something About Mary as a jailbird. So she got her dad to get on there. Let's see. And then she I think she's kind of a klutz.
What did you say that?
August 30th of 2003, she broke her nose in a surfing accident in Hawaii on her birthday.
Oh wow.
So yeah, she ended up doing that. That's a terrible birthday present right there.
That is.
Here's a fun fact right here. When she went to the same high school at the same time as Snoop Dogg. So her and Snoop Dogg went to the same high school at the same time.
That's funny.
I bet that would have been interesting. And then I believe that's pretty much it. She keeps pairs of shoes for most of her movies. So almost every movie she's been on, she keeps shoes from.
I can see that. Yeah.
Huh?
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know some females, and I'm saying some, so don't say I'm
Right.
saying all of them, but some of them do collect shoes. Some have closets full, their closet full of shoes. So I could actually see that, and actually in Something About Mary, I believe Dom went and he was obsessed over her character's shoes, and there were a bunch of shoes in the closet, so that makes sense. So,
Well, I mean, if they're going to be thrown out, you might as well just keep them.
yeah, I mean, why, especially if they're expensive, why waste a perfectly good pair of shoes for a female,
Right.
But other than that, I believe that is all that is interesting information about her. Do you happen to have anything else?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going to start going on to one last thing. She is a sister-in-law of Joel Madden, who is married to Nicole Richie, so there's relation there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had no idea about that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and go on to our TV shows. Now we're going to be talking about Friends. First off, and I really enjoyed this show. It's one of the shows, like a few others I've mentioned, where I can just constantly watch it. It started in September 22nd, 1994, ended, May 6th of 2004. And there were 10 seasons with 236 episodes. Friends is an amazing show. I mean, it's like what I mentioned about Boy Meets World last week. Friends, just pretty much highs and lows. They go through a lot of stuff together, whether if it's good or bad, and they still remain friends after everything. For 10 years, I believe it's 10 seasons. I want to say 10 years, but they go through so much through that show, all good, bad, indifferent.
Yeah.
Everybody's hooking up with everybody, it seems like. But yeah, I mean, you have Jennifer Aniston. She's a great actress. We've talked about her on the show in the past. Great actress. Same with Courtney Cox. Lisa Kudrow does well with what she does with the show as Phoebe. Kind of weird character, but she still pulls it off. Matt LeBlanc as Joey. He's actually one of my favorites. Him and Matthew Perry, who plays Chandler. Both of them are my favorites on that show. And then you have David Schwimmer as Ross Geller. But yeah, this was a absolutely great show. I mean, Chris, what is who's your favorite?
I'd have to go with you on those two. I mean, iconic and pretty much well known.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every once in a while I'll just goof off and act like Joey, the whole "how you doing" kind of thing, and because it's fun to do. I like acting like I'm from New York and stuff like that. But if I was really trying to do it, I can actually do it really well. So, but yeah, and then of course Chandler being the goofball that he is. So, and then here's some interesting information about the show Friends. Lisa Kudrow, who played Phoebe, and her best friend wrote the song Smelly Cat, which is one of the songs on that show, one night when they were drunk, and it just ended up onto the show. So, I mean, you can ad-lib things, and it could end up on there.
Wow.
Especially as an actor, you could do something and somebody says something to, the director, and they'll be like, hey, let's bring that in. So, but that was interesting how that was brought up. And then we have Matt LeBlanc. I keep mispronouncing his name. Matt LeBlanc, when he auctioned for the role of Joey, he only had $11 to his name. So
wow.
He wasn't rich. He wasn't, it just proves right there that you don't have to be rich to, become an actor. But he had $11 to his name. And what he did when the cast got their first paychecks, the first thing that he did was bought a hot dinner because of him not having money.
Yeah.
And then of course Courtney, what she did when she got her first paycheck was buy a car, which I mean, I don't know if that was because she was broke too at one point or what, but but yeah, so she bought the first thing she bought was a car. And then Joey was supposed to be a jerk, was written as a jerk. Joey was supposed to be somebody who was mean and bad and everything. But when Matt LeBlanc questioned why the others would be friends with him if he was such a jerk, the character was changed.
Huh.
So
yeah, I wouldn't see him as a mean guy or something.
no, and that's probably why he said something, because he's like, well, why are they friends with this guy if he's such a jerk and so mean to him? And they're probably like, well, yeah, I guess you're right. We'll go ahead and change that.
Yeah.
And then when they had Courtney Cox dressed as Fat Monica for the first time, Matthew Perry just walked right past her without recognizing her.
Wow.
Which, I mean, watching the show, you get in those episodes where they're showing her in a bodysuit and stuff like that, and you start, you wouldn't recognize her. I mean, I first time I watched it, I didn't recognize her either. I thought it was like some sort of stunt double or something, playing her part. But no, it was really Courtney Cox. And so I don't blame, Matthew Perry for walking by and not even recognizing her. So, and then here's another one. Courtney Cox was originally supposed to play Rachel. I actually heard that before.
Yeah, I think I have too.
She was originally supposed to play Rachel, and then all of a sudden, that's when Jennifer Aniston came in, and the directors were like, "Well, you know what, Courtney, you would play a better Monica than Jennifer would, so just go ahead and switch the scripts. You guys are, Courtney, you're Monica, Jennifer, you're Rachel." So, and I think it was better that way.
Yeah.
And so let's see, Matthew Perry, his wit's so legendary that the scriptwriters have included many of his own made-up jokes. So he came up with jokes on his own, and they decided they were so good that they'll just put them in the show.
Or there's some actors or actresses that, they can do that. They have free reign to, write whatever or put whatever they want in a script. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, they ad lib and see if it works.
Yeah.
I know some of them do that to see if they could put their little spin in it and see if that works. I mean, and then I guess Jennifer Aniston had a lateness problem to the set. So actors and actresses led by David Schwimmer held an intervention for Jennifer Aniston because of the lateness.
Huh.
And I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here. I mean, Lisa Kudrow was terrified of the duck that showed up in season 3. She was literally terrified of it.
Was it just like a rubber duck or a real duck?
No, when Chandler and Joey ended up, or it was Joey, was watching a commercial on TV and about a chick, ducks, a baby duck, a chick.
Right.
They were he called up and wanted to adopt a baby chick, and anyway, I'm confusing myself, but anyway, he wanted a baby chick, and then all of a sudden when Chandler got home, there was a baby chick in the apartment, and then found out there was a duck in the apartment as well.
Huh.
So yeah, so Lisa Kudrow was really actually terrified of that duck. So, which played off because, although and then of course there was another one. Jennifer Aniston, Matthew Perry were longtime friends before the show. And then let's see, I'll go to one more. Let's see. Matt LeBlanc admitted to dyeing his hair throughout the show. Which I didn't even know that. I didn't know he was trying to dye his hair.
I never knew that either.
And then of course you have Gunther, who was the barista? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Barista?
Mm-hmm.
He was barista, and he wasn't even supposed to have a speaking role. He was just supposed to, stand there behind the scenes. So that, and I like him. I think he's awesome. So
yeah,
I'm glad that.
It's amazing what we hear and how the show actually turned out.
Yeah, I mean it for it having 10 seasons, I thought it turned out really great. So, I mean it was I'm gonna admit it was a tearjerker when it ended.
Yeah, most shows are.
But because I mean, couple seasons, whatever, it's gonna end, big deal. But then you get so long of seasons like Friends, and it's like, oh, we're gonna end the show. It's like, well, okay, tearjerker, dealing with these guys for that long.
But also, when you've been invested in a show like that for so long, and then it ends, a piece of you kind of leaves it too. It's like, well, I've been, with this show for so long, and now it's ended.
Yeah, it was definitely tearjerker there. Let's see, and then we have time for a couple more here. Courtney Cox was a neat freak, just like Monica, and would clean others' dressing rooms. That's overdoing it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of am too, but going to other people's dressing rooms just to clean it, yeah, that's a little overboard there.
A little bit, yeah.
And then Joey, or Matt LeBlanc's PIN number is 5639, which spells out Joey so he can remember it.
Hey, you gotta remember it somehow. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, you do your PIN numbers however you can remember it, and if Matt can remember that,
does he still do that? I wonder.
Probably not. They put this information out. He probably changed it.
Yeah.
And then here's something interesting that I didn't know. Even though Matt LeBlanc was all about the females and all that, he was actually shy around the females. I wouldn't see him as somebody who would be shy around females, but I guess he was.
I guess so.
Let's see. And I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, Lisa Kudrow's a vegetarian just like her character. So yeah, I mean that's it for that show.
Right.
And then we're gonna go on with one more show, and then that'll be it. So we're gonna I mean, unless you had something else for this show. Chris.
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. The next show we're gonna cover is one of my personal favorites from my childhood. I know I have several, but this one definitely. was Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Huh?
I remember Saved by the Bell, a little bit of it.
Yeah, it was one of my personal favorites. Growing up, I remember. I remember the reruns because I was too young to. I mean, it came out in August 20th of '89 and ended May 22nd of '93.
Oh, wow.
And that's just the original. It's not even. I don't
Mhm.
think it's counting like them having their wedding in Vegas and the college years. But this was the original, shows. Number 4 seasons. So yeah, it's not dealing with the others.
Right.
And 86 episodes. But this show, I would watch on reruns because, again, when it came out, I was too young. But when I got a little older, I started watching it more, and I enjoyed this show. I really did. I mean, of course, I had my crushes on, one of the females on there, and I was jealous of a couple of the males on there, and we all wanted a Mr. Belding,
Hmm.
and because he was the awesome principal. But yeah, it was a really great show. I mean, you have 5 of them, 5 of the teenagers. They're doing well for themselves. It's unfortunate that Dustin Diamond went downhill, went to a mental collapse, I guess,
Yeah.
mental breakdown, and went downhill, and completely went through a self-destruction period to where he started having health problems and passed away. So I mean,
Wasn't that Screech?
yeah,
His character Screech?
Dustin Diamond was Screech on the show. It was sad because he was. I mean, he had problems on behind the scenes,
Mm.
but on the show itself, he people liked him. People thought he was funny, things like that. And this is what I've read up on. This is what I've seen. But I mean, it's just terrible that he self-destructed and
Yeah.
ended up passing away due to health problems because of that self-destruction. So, but I mean, I watched it. I did. I even liked it more, and I, you know, I like the show altogether. I mean, the only thing I didn't like about the show Saved by the Bell was the new class. I thought that was kind of it was a spin-off, but it was kind of not. I don't know. It wasn't the same. I mean, you had to have the same characters from the show. You just did.
Yeah. In any show, that reboots or redesigns or whatever, you kind of have to have the same class or same group of characters in order to make it feel like the show.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the new class. That started in well, I guess it ran for 7 seasons, 143 episodes from 93 to 2000. But which I'm surprised. And of course, Belding was the only one who was constant throughout all 7 seasons. But it was not generally well received, and some people believe that it failed to recapture a charm of the original series, which it did because, again, everybody was not on there that should have been on there. So I mean, it was so much better with the original cast. But here's some facts about the show. Zach and Slater, I mean, you could see it within the first few episodes that Zach and Slater were written as rivals for Kelly. They both wanted Kelly. But because of the fact that the directors saw that Mario Lopez and Mark Paul Gosselaar were, really good friends, and they had great chemistry, together as characters. They decided to go ahead and rewrite it as them being best friends. So, I mean, you could see it in the first few episodes that they weren't, but
Right.
like I said, they just saw the chemistry and they're like, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and make them best friends instead. And then let's see. Mark Paul Gosselaar had to dye his hair blonde every 2 weeks while the show was in production because he's a brunette. So they wanted his character to be blonde, and so he literally had to dye it. And then Elizabeth Berkley, who played Jessie on the show, she was originally supposed to go for the role of Kelly, but they turned her down. They didn't like her, part with Kelly, but they did like her so much they wanted to keep her, so they decided to they had to create a role just to keep Elizabeth in the show. So that's when they created the role of Jessie. And it was meant for her, which I have heard that before. I don't remember where, but I did hear that. Let's see. The school set from Saved by the Bell has been used for many Disney Channel and Nickelodeon shows, including That's So Raven and iCarly. I didn't watch those two shows much, so I don't really know, but
Right.
yeah, I guess they're using the same sets.
Yeah, looking back, I kind of can see the similarities. Yeah.
And if on the episodes where they're in Mr. Belding's office, he has one of his degrees for kung fu hanging up in his office. It's above the filing cabinet next to his desk. So next time you watch that, look next to his desk, and you'll see an actual degree for black belt.
Huh.
That is actually his.
Don't mess with him.
Yeah. Don't. Well, maybe back then. Now, he's much older.
But still, I wouldn't test that. I mean, he probably still has a little bit. He could show a little bit.
Yeah, true. Let's see. Okay, so Dustin Diamond was only 12 when he was cast as Screech. The series creator and executive producer had said they wouldn't have casted him if they knew his age. He later angered Diamond by repeatedly noting his immaturity relative to the other older cast members. So, because it was supposed to be in high school, and he was only 12, they were hoping he was older, and when they found out he was 12, they didn't want him. So, I mean, maybe that could have started something at the beginning. For his problems with backstage heat with people. I don't know, but I mean, I'm glad they did it anyway. I'm glad they casted him anyway. But I mean, I had no idea he was much younger than the rest of them.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, I knew that one. Every classroom scene used the same set. So which I like I said, I had a feeling that's what it was. It was just the direction of the camera. Let's see. So yeah, like I said, Dustin Diamond was only 12 when it started. Elizabeth Berkley was 17, and the rest were 15. Only Diamond was still high school aged at the end of the series. So when everybody was graduating, Elizabeth Berkley actually was older, too old to graduate, but she still graduated, and the rest were 15. So Dustin Diamond graduated on the show early.
Wow.
So I mean that's interesting.
That's crazy.
Let's see. Dustin Diamond is the only actor to appear as a regular in every episode, spinoff, and movie. Wow. That I didn't know either. Yeah, let's see. Some information that I had. Despite playing best friends, Mark Paul Gosselaar and Dustin Diamond had no relationship outside of work. They weren't even friends. I think they just got along because of the show, but they really were not any friend. They weren't friends at all. Let's see, and then Christy, thank you for watching. She said that I did watch a good chunk of Saved by the Bell. Yeah, it was an amazing show. Like I said, I really loved it. Screech was my least favorite character on the show. Yeah, I liked him as a character, but
I think there are some parts that he was good and some parts he probably wasn't.
yeah, and yes, Dustin, Chrissy says Dustin Diamond, from what I've heard, was a jerk. Absolutely, he was. There was a show I watched on MTV years ago because Dustin Diamond had gained a lot of weight. And I don't remember, it was Celebrity Boot Camp or something. It was or Fit Club or something on MTV, and he was on there, and he was just an absolute jerk. We'll just say, I'm not gonna say the real
we know,
word I
yeah.
wanted to, but he was a jerk, and he had been kicked off. They kicked him off the show at one point. And then I believe they decided to bring him back, and he was just a jerk the entire time. I think he was on 2 episodes and just flat out jerk. So, and then Chrissy says, I heard that the actors who played Zach and Lisa did date in real life. I think I did see something on here that they did. They had something going on. Mark and Tiffany. I can't find it anymore, but yeah, I think I did read something about how they had an actual off stage relationship for a little while there. So, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, you got teenagers, both male and female, on the same show. There's going to be some kind of dating going on between them. So, I mean, it would be no surprise.
Nope.
And let's see, I'll do one more as we're running out of time. Let's see, a quick one. Let's see. So Elizabeth Berkley disliked how Jesse was never able to dress as femininely as Kelly and Lisa. I guess the directors told Elizabeth Berkley she had to dress like a tomboy and couldn't dress like Kelly and Lisa. So,
Right.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what I got for Saved by the Bell. I would suggest for those that hadn't watched it before, watch Friends, the TV show, watch Saved by the Bell, watch watch it from the beginning and work your way up to when they get married and go to college, because as they get older, they get better acting, they get better in their roles, and they evolve. That's where I was going with that. They evolve. So I would suggest watching those shows.
And then probably watch the Friends reunion.
I've been trying to stall on watching that because I want to see it really bad, but on the other hand, I'm just like, do I want to just watch it right now, or do I want to hold off? But I would love to watch it. So
maybe you watch the like the series again, and then do the reunion.
Yeah, I was getting ready. I actually, within this next week, I was getting ready to start watching the series again. So I might just do that, watch the series, and then go all the way to the reunion. So, but all right, we're gonna go ahead and close this out. Crispy Bacon, you have 30 to 45 seconds to say what you want.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in, interacting with the show. Tonight we have Sports Minute tonight about 11 p.m. Morning tailgate Central Time. Morning tailgate's about 10:30 Central Time in the morning, getting you ready for Week 3 of the NFL season. And also tomorrow at 11 p.m. Central, it's our pay-per-view recap of Extreme Rules on Between the Ropes. So,
all right,
tune in.
That sounds good, and I'm right along with Chris. Thank you everybody for watching, and commenting. Your comments matter. I enjoy your comments because it definitely helps. So thank you to Lou, thank you to Jason, and thank you Christy for all commenting, and for everybody that watches this every week and has to deal with us. Thank you, Christy. And I want to thank Chris for doing what he does, between being on these shows and producing. So I definitely couldn't do it. But thank you, Chris, and I hope everybody has a good day and a good weekend and continue watching our shows.